My name is...
What?
My name is...
Who?
My name is...
Okay, diseases, what's new? I'm a sexually transmitted ringworm, and I've already learned something today. I'm spreading all over New York City, and I'm anti-fungus resistant. And you're also disgusting, but I'm glad you're here. Gonorrhea here. Do you two know each other? Carry on. Cases of me have reached record highs in the UK. Difficult to spell, but easy to catch. Why are you here? Because I'm in every pair of testicles in the world? This is a meeting for diseases? Microplastics are in every ball sack on Earth. You don't think that's going to cause a disease at some point? Good point. You can stay. Is there anyone here not involved in bollocks? I'm not. Massapora cicadina here. And what do? You know those trillions of cicadas that just emerged? Yeah. Well, I turn them into zombies, tear off their testicles, and force them to mate anyway. Okay, can we get back to killing humans? 50% of adults will have me by 2050. Thank you, cardiovascular disease, getting us right back on track. Bird flu here, I'm officially in humans via cows. Ah yes, and rumour has it you've got another endemic up your sleeve. Under my wing, as it were. E. coli! Give me some good news. Massive outbreak of me linked to a nationally distributed food item. Huh. Which one? They're not saying. Probably waiting for me to cause more people liver failure. That sounds like humans, all right? Oh, and evidence now strongly suggests I started in a lab. Yeah, we've known that, COVID. We've known that.
Hey. Can you all hear me okay? I'm never, ever prepared for these openings. Like ever. Like never, ever. Great. Okay. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me tonight. Okay, we're gonna try to get through this the best way that we can because your girl is clumsy and broke a tooth. So yeah, this will be fun to explain in about 40 minutes when somebody gets home. This is gonna be a doozy because I was supposed to be an adult today, be a big girl. So yeah. But let's kick this one off strong. Mr. Can't keep his foot out of his mouth, Byron Donalds. You know, why not? Why not start there?
Question.
Which
Last
creates
question.
better people.
Last question, and then I'm going to let you go. Last question. We're out of time, but I'm going to give you one more question. During Jim Crow, could your family have existed? You are in an interracial marriage. Your wife is a white conservative activist. Could your family have existed at all during Jim Crow?
No, it could not, Joy, and we all know that. But that's why I am blessed to live in America today as opposed to America during that time. But we cannot ignore the realities of not having fathers in homes. That is important for Black people today and all people today as we move forward for a better America.
We are out of time. What I'm grateful for is that we do not live in the Jim Crow era and that fathers do not face the threat of lynching.
I'm very grateful of that.
Perhaps don't bring up Jim Crow when you're trying to make that example. Representative Byron Donalds, thank you for being here, and we'll be right back.
Now, we can skip past the fact that Jim Crow legitimately had Black fathers, Black sons, potential fathers, and husbands ripped out the house and turned into strange fruit. Let's ignore that for a moment. Did you hear that his wife is a conservative activist? Pretty sure no sooner than she got his receipt, she set it on fire. Because that token is going to get spent. She's not even going to pick up the change off the counter. Because what is she fighting for? And this is an oxymoron that plagues my brain. Conservatives that are in interracial relationships and intra-racial relationships. You're not doing a good job at conserving. You're not doing a good job at conserving at all. Because that's very progressive. That's very woke of you. That's one of a million questions I have for Byron Donalds. And since Byron likes to go and try to talk over Joy Reid, and Joy Reid has to have, a certain level of decorum because, it's not her network. Me, on the other hand, if y'all want to at your boy and see if he'll come talk to me. Right? Like, how are you a conservative? And you're married to somebody that's outside. I, welcome back. But conservatives have been failing since the beginning because when conservatism came into existence, that is supposed to be the time in history, the lifestyle that they are working to conserve. But all they do is keep adapting. They complain. They act like, oh, this isn't going to work. That's not going to work. It's all going to go to shit. But they adapt to it. They adapt to it. And then what they previously were up in arms and at war against, they can't live without. Conservatives are the same ones that hated debit cards coming into existence, ATM cards coming into existence. I'm old enough to remember that this ain't going to work. I don't want to do this. Oh, this ain't going to be safe. Now they can't live without it. Same ones that didn't want cell phones to exist. Although they were living it up with their big ass car phones that they could pick up like a big old lunchbox and carry around anyway. But now they can't live without it. Conservatives were the same ones that had no problem with little ladies going out and basically what looked like horse trailers being backed into the beaches to now it's we wear shorts. And let's not forget, the conservative meemaws and papaws of today were the same ones getting high off their rocker on LSD, fucking in the middle of the woods at a concert. Well, they was playing a little bit of music at an orgy. These so-called conservatives then lived with each other and sucked and fucked each other for decades before they realized, oops, we related. Because, during the Great War, I did diddle a little bit with Johnny behind the Piggly Wiggly. The Second Great War. I was over there with Raphael. He was exotic. And so many people done put kids up for adoption, had kids stolen into adoption, got this cousin raising this cousin's baby, this grandma raising this up. Only thing they're conserving is nastiness and the ability to skew statistics. But speaking of skewing statistics, let's get into this graduation interrupted.
Graduation ceremony for Baraboo High School in Wisconsin. Everything seemed to be going smoothly, and then this happened.
Oh, excuse me. Where's Brendan? Where's Brendan?
Get away from me, bro.
No, don't.
Hey, no. Hey, you need to get. Hey. You gotta go. I will get off. Out right now. I don't care. Get off the stage right now.
So in case it wasn't clear what happened there, the young lady whose face I blurred because none of this was her fault, that's her father, crossing the stage, grabbing the only black faculty member, who is the superintendent, pushing him away. Then you hear the superintendent saying, "Get your hands off me," and him saying, "I don't want you touching my daughter." Now, why would he do that? It depends on who you ask. Some people who claim to have been there are stating they heard him say, "I don't want my daughter touching no N-word." Other people are saying, no, he had a problem with how the school district had handled something. And so that's why he was upset. Looking at the behavior and taking those two options, I don't want her touching a black man. Grab and push him away. I don't like how you handled something, so I'm going to create a scene at graduation, and I don't want you shaking my daughter's hand. Which seems more plausible. Might be worth mentioning that this is the same high school where this happened. You probably will remember this photo, even though I'm not going to show it, but it is 60 high school boys doing a salute where your hand is out in front of you. And according to the story, a parent was taking the picture, said everybody wave, and then they all did that in unison. At least one parent there started screaming at her son, put your hand down. But it's not like they're a hive mind and they all just suddenly went like, what if we did this? That sounds planned out. And how the town handled this, I think, is very telling. I mean, this woman, Carrie Olson, is one of the organizers of the series of meetings in Barbu to consider what to make of the photograph and how to react. And she said, I can't imagine being 17 years old and having the world looking upon you as the personification of evil. So they're the victims, those boys who made that decision. And then a lot of students have been saying, it's just a joke, they didn't mean it. This is being taken out of proportion, and everyone just needs to calm down and just let it go, which is really upsetting to me because people think that is okay just because they didn't mean it. There are students who realize that it wasn't okay, but on the whole, a lot of people are just trying to dismiss it. That's a young Jewish girl who goes to that school and felt some kind of way about what happened. Oh, and this is the same school district where this happened, where they settled a suit over a pattern of sexual assault and racial discrimination to the tune of $862,000 with a student who went there. A lot of people are telling me that superintendent has been a big part of the change, has come in and really turned things around and done a lot of work there to repair a lot of this damage. And maybe some people in that town aren't so thrilled about that. But hey, racism will go away if we just stop talking about it, right?
Now, just for some further context, because it's me. The young lady that was so embarrassed because I saw the unredacted video had previously been disciplined because of something that she did. What she did was not disclosed at the time of me looking into it. But isn't it amazing the lengths that racists will go to cover up their behavior and the behavior of others to turn around and gaslight the rest of us? Like, no, there's no racism there. We're the victims. Because that memory will forever be attached to that young lady. Every reunion that school has, that will be one of the topics of conversation. Whether people are proud of her father, embarrassed of it as they go on through town. And this is going to go beyond any reunions that she would potentially be a part of. It's going to surpass just her graduating year. Colleges, vocational schools, employers are going to see this, and they are going to have to weigh their options. Do they want to deal with this because of her father? And I say this because I'm one of those people that I have to look at the entirety of who's around you. Now, before we move forward, got a bit of news. This comes from Newsweek. Judge strikes down Ron DeSantis' signature law. Florida's blanket restrictions on medical care for trans children was ruled unconstitutional by a federal judge on Tuesday, striking down a key pillar of Governor Ron DeSantis' platform. In his ruling from Tallahassee, U.S. District Judge Robert Hinkle invalidated a Florida Health Code rule and a new state law that prohibited Medicaid payments for puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. He found these bans violated federal laws, including the Affordable Care Act's prohibition on sex discrimination in healthcare. Now, I bring this up and I talk about this because, yeah, that was weird. I bring this up because here's the thing. This is something I've never understood in the entirety of my existence, because I've seen women do this when it comes to men. Men do this when it comes to women. Parents do this when it comes to non-parents and to all sorts of stuff. Cisgender children also benefit from puberty blockers, etc. Gender affirming care has been around before people started honing in and focusing in on the trans community. All of these lies are going to hurt your own children. What is the point? Because, like, I've never understood women who would tell men, like, well, this, when a woman wears this means that she's a whore. She's just doing this, but knowing that you're lying. Or lying about how a menstrual cycle goes, or lying about, labor and delivery and being a parent. What does that do? How does that help anyone? Because I'm pretty sure if you had a 6-year-old running around that was hormonally pushed into puberty, you would want those puberty blockers. But if you push forward this legislation, nobody's getting it. And if you keep fighting against things that the LGBTQIA plus community has fought for, you're going to lose out on things also. Remember, if you're not married, but your health insurance is through your partner that you're living through with, that goes away. When you want to invalidate the existence of other people, you're forgetting of the trickle down, the residuals that you're benefiting from as well. Now, let's lighten things up just a little bit with the stupidity of the NFL. You'll see.
Hey, NFL. Yeah, what in the actual fuck? The hell is up with you two? I'll tell you what's up. You're making us play in Brazil.
Oh no, we're giving you guys the chance to travel to one of the hottest travel destinations in the entire world. How dare we?
No, it has nothing to do with getting to go to Brazil. Then what are you guys on about? We will be playing in Corinthians Arena.
Yeah?
The arena with a ban on wearing green. You really saw two teams with green as their primary colors and thought, let's send them to play in a place where green isn't allowed. I feel like you're being dramatic.
No, that's Josh Jacobs, who thought that this whole green thing was because of gangs.
Yeah, that's my bad. I have an easy solution to this.
I can't wait to hear this.
We'll just have you guys wear your away jerseys. What?
One, we'd still have green on our uniforms, and two,
we'd be wearing the same color. Okay, fine. We'll have you guys wear your alternate uniforms. They still have green on them.
No. Not those.
You don't mean...
Oh, yeah.
Every day, this league strays further and further from reality.
It's just not the United States if you just don't think things through whatso freaking ever. Because, the rules just don't apply to you. I don't know if y'all have ever been on the Reddit threads or like some of these pages on other social media platforms where United States citizens go to other countries and complain about the reasoning they went there. Like, they'll go to some place that still has siestas, complain that the siesta is in full swing. That like be so fucking for real. But yeah, leave it to the NFL. Leave it to the NFL. We're gonna do this game here. We know that the color green is not accepted. Who has the most green? Who had? You know what? Let's also see if they'll serve shamrock shakes over there too. Yeah. What about a grimace shake too? Yeah. Let's throw them in there. Yeah. Hey, Boston. Yeah. Can we borrow the Celtics for this weekend? No, just to sit in the crowd. Just sit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Living in America. Now we're gonna get this. We're gonna get this out of the way, because I've told people about stuff like this time and time and time, over and over and over again. Okay, I feel like Nelly, over and over and over again. So let's get this out of our system. The latest rage baiting Temu pick me.
For those of you who are upset with what Great Value Pearl said, let me tell you something. I've actually seen her videos before, and the funny thing about Great Value Pearl is that she's either rage baiting or being a pick-me or complaining about being single, because as we know, the biggest pick-me's never get what? Picked. But what I can tell you as a 15-year marketer whose specialty was profiling people online is this latest video is a beautiful illustration of a phenomenon I've seen time and time again. And I've talked about before the book Queen Bees and Wannabes, which is the book that the movie Mean Girls was based from. So if you look at Great Value Pearl through the lens of a Gretchen Wieners or a Karen, i.e. the wannabes, when they want to emulate who they've decided to choose as their queen bee, in this case, Pearl, they often fail to realize there's a strategy. Pearl, for all of the stuff that tumbles out of her mouth straight from a bull's, is, if nothing, a strategist. She knows exactly what to say, and she knows where to draw the line. Now, Great Value Pearl, I briefly went through her account to try and get a profile reading off of her, and what I can tell you is that she's been at this since 2020. She has a little over 60,000 followers. That's nothing for 4 years. And she's following the same exact path I see every time another wannabe pops up. She sees what whoever she's emulating is doing and says, I could do this. I could be the same person. I have these same thoughts, and all I have to do is get on the internet and squawk. And girl's been squawking for 4 years, and it's not getting her any attention. So she starts squawking louder, saying stuff that she knows is gonna get her attention. And by golly, this last one did. And that's why she followed up with saying, I'm not going to apologize, because the attention she's getting is exactly the attention she was looking for. And to her, she's like, this is exactly it. I'm finally doing it. And I guarantee you, she's sitting back waiting for Piers Morgan or whomever to reach out to her. And maybe she'll get a little bit of press attention at some point. But here's the thing, because she's not strategic, she's going to be a flash in the pan, because you can't sustain without a strategy, and I guarantee you she has none. If she had a strategy, it wouldn't have taken her 4 years just to reach 60,000 followers, and she wouldn't have needed to drop the N-bomb just to get some attention. And not only does not having a strategy not help you sustain your growth, but it also doesn't help you look out for what we in the marketing biz call watch-outs and threats, which is how people embroil themselves in social media scandals that are eventually their downfall, and this isn't it. She planned this so she can get the followers that are in her little ideology demographic, right? But eventually she's gonna screw up and piss them off. And because she's so damn predictable, I'm gonna call it right now. As the heat on her grows and people start talking about this more, she's gonna do what I like to call emoji face racketeering. And that's when people use, mainly these emojis are the stars of emoji face racketeering. And that's what people use when they're actually bothered, but they're trying to play it off like they're unbothered. So I guarantee either in her video replies or in comment replies or whatever, there's either gonna be emoji face racketeering or her own face just smiling and laughing to make a point that she's unbothered. But when people do this, it's usually when they're bothered the most. So as much as her rage baiting, I know, upset and bothered a lot of you, I hope you can find even a modicum of comfort in knowing that she is a flash in the pan and that she will have a downfall, and it will be glorious. So get your popcorn ready.
Now, I know a lot of people are saying that because of a tweet that she put out that she's been fired. Here's the thing. We don't know if she has or not. There are people who stated that they sent emails or that they called, and only thing that they can confirm is that you can't send any more emails, you can't make any more phone calls. We don't know if she's been fired or not. Will there be a downfall? Probably not. Because we know hating Black people, especially Black women, is the easiest way to shoot to the top. Easiest way. But this is why I keep saying that these people, it's always planned around when a bill is due or right around the time that whatever platform they're on is about to drop some deposits and they didn't make as much as they thought that they were going to. And they want to become notable. Because think about it, she is closer to conventionally more attractive than Pearl is. Now, I did not see the video where she was using the N-word. The video that I saw that put her on my radar was her talking about nerds and normies. And I'm like, hi, 1982 Mean Girls is calling and they want you to return. But she is just trying to find any way to get bigoted, misogynistic, racist white men to fangirl over her, because she knows once she cements herself as their default damsel in distress, she's untouchable. She's untouchable. And they need a replacement. The Tommy Lauren isn't on the independent circuit, the web circuit anymore, where she can just fly off the cuff and really say what they used to love for her to say, and they get to sit there to her. So they need a new one. And this chick doesn't have any discernible skills. We don't know if she's jobless. We don't. And I think that she put out, because the way she put it out, I was like, oh, now I'm without a job over a word. Creep behavior. I don't believe that it's real. I don't believe that it's real. I believe that she is going to, because she made the video on TikTok, but she announced that she was fired on Twitter. I think that she's just trying to move this controversy to as many social media platforms as she can, so she can capitalize and monetize on as many as she can. Will she eventually sever ties with whatever company if she can sustain herself? Well, Ann Coulter straddles the fence, just like she straddles black men. Ann Coulter will fuck the shit out of a black man, and she'll say just enough to still be in the stratosphere of Charlemagne the God and people like that, and still be able, to make the silent generation and the boomer racist, with the help of Viagra, get a hard on and fangirl after her. But I always think it's interesting to see white women, especially, give a take on other white women, because you can tell who's truly started deconstructing and who hasn't. Because for her to say, oh, her downfall is coming when? Because we're still waiting on the downfall of Pearl. There isn't going to be a downfall. There's always going to be an audience for anti-blackness. Because people were up in arms about her saying that nerdy people that are out here running the world are pathetic and everything else. Yeah, those same people, because she went after the anime community and everything, got pissed, but she didn't antagonize them the way she decided to antagonize the black community. She took down the video of her saying the N-word, replaced it with an antagonizing video, and she's strategic. She strategically wait and then put out a statement on Twitter. What good does that do? That doesn't stop the heat over on TikTok. All it does is have people giving her views and engagement across all social media platforms. That's why I say, when I say dry them out, dry them out. Stop giving them engagement. Stop giving them interaction, because that's what they do to us. I got 2 people right now in my comment sections over on TikTok that think that they're trolling me. Every couple of weeks they show up. Multiple comments across multiple posts. They just go ham. I just sit there and let them, because it drives up the engagement. I end up on all sorts of people's FYPs. Following count goes up. People come over here and find me. Don't give them that. Dry them out. Stop giving your labor to folks you don't like. Don't do that. Speaking of which, y'all remember Scaramucci? Scaramucci. Well, he's talking about MAGA's fear of black people. I mean, we already knew they had a fear of black people, But let's see what this spicy white man has to say.
And whether you like the hard left or not, the hard left is less dangerous than the hard right. The hard left is at least like, okay, you know what? There's a democratic system. There's checks and balances in the system. I want to preserve that system. Now, they may want to go in a direction that the center-right people don't want to go in, but they want to maintain and preserve the system. You know, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I'm going to say it, okay? These hard-right guys are like, wait a minute, the country's becoming browner. The colorful mosaic of the country is becoming more beautiful and more colorful. Yes. Does that mean that brown and black people are going to run the country? Yes, likely because of the demographics. Okay, I'd like to change the rules. I don't want there to be a democracy anymore because I don't want that to happen. Okay, that's the underlying message of those people that are buying catheters and walkers from Fox News commercial interruptions. And so it has to be called out, Don. It has to be exposed, because when it's exposed, then people have to look in the mirror and say, well, I don't really want to, I actually think like that, but I don't really want to be like that. And that's where the change can happen.
I'm always tickled at this very toddler-esque portion of the multiverse that certain white people get to reside in. Sweetheart, they think like that. And they don't want to say it out loud, not because they're like, oh, I don't really want to be like that. No, because they know that what they're saying is wrong. They know that it's not widely accepted. In their little friend circles, they act like, we're the silent majority. They know that's not the case. They know that's not the case. These are the same people who, for generations, said that the United States was a melting pot, knowing that it's not a damn melting pot. I saw a live on TikTok earlier today where a guy was like, well, technically we don't have white culture because in the United States we have the melting pot and we all came together. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. And the melting pot would detract from this everybody has a culture thing, because if it was the melting pot, then there would be one singular culture, and there is not. That's why I referred to it as a stew. But no, they know it's a lie, and it was a lie that they utilized to underpay people to get the services and the goods that they actually truly needed. Like I said, it must be a wonderful thing to be able to live in that fantastical portion of the multiverse that some white people get to reside in. Oh gosh. I know. Now, we always have to have a good telenovela here. We always have to have a good telenovela. And this one, I don't even know how to precursor this for y'all, but there's a little bit of reality TV. There's a little bit of New York. There's a little bit of mafioso. There's a little bit of plastic surgery to hide from the mafiosa. But nope, there's no Arthur Knight. Take a peek.
If you watch The Real Housewives of New Jersey, then you're probably aware of the fact that Dina Manzo has absolutely no relationship to her sister, Caroline Manzo, and Dolores Catania. And it has everything to do with Dina's ex-husband, Tommy Manzo, who was just found guilty on 3 charges. And before we get to that, let's rewind. If you're unfamiliar with their history, Tommy and Al are brothers who married sisters, Caroline and Dina. When Caroline was on The Real Housewives, there used to be a lot of talk about the fact that her family was involved with the mafia. A huge part of that had to do with the father of these 2 brothers. This is Albert Manzo, who went by Tiny, and I'm sure you all remember the brownstone banquet hall that we saw in the earlier seasons of the New Jersey Housewives, and he was the one that purchased it in the 70s. It's actually now co-owned by these 2 brothers, but back to the father. There were rumors about Tiny that he was a New Jersey enforcer, and in 1983 he was found dead in his trunk, completely naked and shot 4 times. I don't believe there were ever any arrests for his murder, but again, the rumor is it had to do with the mafia. The reason why you needed to know this backstory and the rumors is because yesterday Tommy Manzo was found guilty on 3 charges for an attack he planned against his ex-wife Dina and her now husband, David Canton. You see, in 2012, Dina decided to end her marriage to Tommy, and eventually she moved on to David Canton, and Tommy did not like that. By July of 2015, Tommy hired John Perna, who allegedly is a member of a crime family, and the plan was to get him to attack David Canton, and in exchange, John would get a wedding reception at the brownstone for a very discounted price. Clearly, Tommy stuck to his word because about a month after the attack, John Perna got his wedding reception where he invited 330 people at the brownstone. Now let's get into what happened on the night of the attack. Dina and David, who were dating at the time, would go back and forth between California and New Jersey. And on the night of the attack, Dina was in town to attend the christening of her goddaughter, which is Teresa's youngest daughter, Adriana. After the event was over, Dina and David returned home and were confronted by two men who were already inside. One of the men struck David with a baseball bat several times, and the other was punching Dina. The two men then bound Dina and David together, stole cash and jewelry, and then left. David eventually freed himself and called 911, and they were taken to the hospital to receive treatment for facial injuries. By 2020, John Perna not only was arrested, but he pleaded guilty and admitted to everything and received 30 months in prison. But once Tommy was arrested, he pleaded not guilty and claimed he had nothing to do with the attack. Now, do you guys remember this scene when Caroline was sitting with Danielle in one of the earlier seasons, and she tells her, "Let me tell you something about my family. We're thick as thieves." Knowing this about Caroline, you would have assumed she would have sided with her sister, especially after being brutally attacked, but she actually sided with her brother-in-law. See, Caroline was one of the dozens of people who wrote a character letter for Tommy, calling him kind-hearted and caring, and asked the judge to release him from holding while he waits for trial. And remember when Teresa said the reason why she did not invite Dolores to her engagement party was because of Dina? Well, Dina had confirmed on Instagram that it wasn't just Caroline that wrote a character letter for Tommy, but Dolores did as well. While Dina and David were waiting for justice to be served, they went on to live their best lives. They not only left New Jersey for good, but they got married in 2017 and have been living a happy and quiet life in California. Justice was officially served when Tommy was found guilty on all three charges just yesterday. He was found guilty for a violent crime in aiding of racketeering, assault with a dangerous weapon. He was also found guilty for conspiracy to commit assault with a dangerous weapon in aid of racketeering and assault resulting in serious bodily injury, and guilty for falsifying and concealing records related to a federal investigation. His sentencing is set for October 15th, to which he could receive a maximum of 43 years. I think the saddest thing to come from all of this is the fact that Dina lost that relationship with her sister. But it's clear that blood doesn't make family, because if I'm going to be honest, I've never seen Teresa be more loyal to anybody the way she is with Dina. And Dina was just one of those housewives that you couldn't help but like, because she was very grounded and very real, and I'm just happy that she can finally put this all behind her.
White ladies, y'all still want to argue with us about bears? You still want to argue with us about your loyalty? And don't sit up there, they're not like us. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Carbon copy club. Because old girl had no problem with her husband, her own husband, going to prison and being deported. But she you know what? You know what? You know, And I love how white people won't call their gangs gangs. Because please tell me what the mob is. Please tell me what the mafia is. That's a gang. That it. Now, unless you've been under a rock, you've heard about the fact that Northwest performed at the Hollywood Bowl in regards to the anniversary of The Lion King. I know a lot of people have been talking about it, giving hot takes, etc., etc. Well, I found someone who was there in real time, in real life, and this is their perspective. Okay, let I'm a little concerned. I'll take a look at this and I'll figure out why everything on the right side of me is swelling up. Okay. Focus on that, not on this.
I witnessed North's performance live, so let's talk about it and everything else that happened that night.
I'm working on my role.
My friends and I got to the Hollywood Bowl, and the evening started off really well with this guy performing to his dog. We got inside pretty quickly, and the venue is absolutely breathtaking. It was pretty sick that we could bring in our own food, so we got sandwiches from Fat Sal's. We saw Rob Minkoff, who is the director of the original Lion King, and then we saw a bunch of the Kardashians, but I honestly can't remember all their names. The show started, and Jennifer Hudson literally took everyone's breath away. And now the moment you've all been waiting for.
Please welcome the brilliant Northwest.
I'm gonna be the main event when no king was before. I'm flexing up, I'm looking down, I'm working.
You know what's crazy is I saw an article that said that North had a standing ovation, but I swear Kanye was the only person standing. He left as soon as her performance was done, and guys, when I tell you that I've never heard anything like that, it was quite the thing to witness. Here is Kim also leaving after her performance. In all seriousness, I don't know how Disney allowed this to happen. Like, how can you put Jennifer Hudson and Northwest on the same stage?
As wet as a warthog's backside.
It felt like a slap in the face, but all the other performances were insane. Like, listen to this.
Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata.
Those were the original voices of Timon and Pumbaa, and they absolutely nailed it. As the night went on, we saw a few more celebrities like the cast of High School Musical, the musical, the series. I love you guys. Next up, the hilarious Billy Eichner came out.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle.
The next queen was my favorite, and she deserves every musical award in history. The next performances of the original Broadway cast members was next level. And then this happened.
When the heart of the star-crossed warrior beats in time with
So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the night was pretty much perfect except for one performance. I guess what makes it sad is that there are so many talented kids out there that could have had the role, but because they don't have rich parents, it just will never work out for them. Anyway, to finish off the night, there was a lot of confetti. I feel bad for the people who have to clean it up. And then there was fireworks. But yeah, thanks for coming along and listening. Bye.
Outside of the combination of fireworks and confetti, my body needs to get back in sync. It needs to get back in sync. My body still thinks something is going on and it's not. But here's the thing. The Kardashians are doing some really foul shit in order to keep their brand going and moving forward. Because even if you were going to put forth the money for North to pay to play, North is an incredible visual artist. You took her out of the costuming. You obviously did not take her to any rehearsals. You did not get her any coaching, no nothing. And you put her on a night that is star-studded, and you had the OG singing Simba voice introduce her. The critiques and criticism are going to be through the roof, but they don't care because it's going to get them press. And to leave right after their performance, like this was at the elementary school or the middle school, castings across the board are going to look at things like this. You could have had her be commissioned to do some commemorative anniversary Lion King inspired artwork. If you want people to, at any point, take your family seriously, you got to give up the gimmicks. You got to. Now we have to really, really, really get serious because I don't want to put this off. Talking with the IDF.
Hello.
Are you from United States?
Yes, sir. Kentucky, Wisconsin.
Do you love Israel or do you love Palestine?
I don't know what's going on. I see the videos. Are you... You're in the IDF? Salute Hut Jahannam. Listen, man, I see the videos. The IDF fighting the Kamis or the Hamas?
No, we don't. We kill everybody, no Hamas.
Everybody.
Yes.
Even the children.
And the children.
The woman.
Children and babies. Baby, one day we kill him.
On the first day it's born.
Yes.
Why
no?
How many do you have? How many kills do you have?
1 minute. Because I don't English very good.
I don't know about you, but I personally sent a copy to the ICC. And since I realized that our UN ambassador isn't worth 6-month-old dog shit, sent it to a few other ambassadors from around the globe. This has never been about a sovereign nation. Because if they were to say Israel no longer exists, the population in New York City is just going to increase. Bibi is going to go back to Philly. He's going to go back to being a Polish American. Gal Gadot is going to continue to be Wonder Woman. Deborah Messing. But as the United States is trying to negotiate for the release of hostages from the United States, and we don't have as many as Israel does, they're just like, we're not going to go get them because they don't have them. They don't have them. They know where those people are. And the ones that have been sitting with Israel all this time, you're never going to see them alive again. Now, let's end with this one because I think you all will get a kick out of it. And then don't forget, tomorrow on TikTok Live, we'll be going over chapter 3 of Lies About Black People. This book right here, chapter 3. And then on Thursday, I will see you back over here. Since I found a white girl. For Think About It Thursdays. But here we go. And as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. I'll see you then.